So, for anyone that's interested in what I'm talking about tonight, I was riding down the road going to the store, and I started thinking about the promises of God with my life. And I tagged us, God is not lack concerning his promise. Because I remember in 2011, God had told me something. He did. He had told me that Robert Jones was my husband. And this was in 2011. That's what he told me. He said, Robert Jones is your husband. Follow me with this. So, in 2011, me and Robert started dating. And we started dating in 2011. And we broke up because somebody got into it. Somebody got into our relationship in 2012. So for the whole year between December and January of 2011 and between January of 2012 and December of 2012, I walked around believing that Robert Jones was my husband, even though we were not together. But I believed it because God told me in 2011 that Robert Jones was my husband. When me and Robert broke up in January of 2012, he got sick one day and I went to his house. And my cousin had got into it. She was, the devil getting people. And the devil had got into her and caused confusion. And so when the devil caused confusion, she had texted him. And anyway, I just knew something was off. So when I went up to his house today, I sat down. And I was like, what's going on with you? And he was like, I don't want this. No, he said something about it. I said, my kids. He said, no, I don't want this. I said, you don't want what? I said, you don't want my children. You don't want me. And he was like, no, I don't want this. I said, so are we done? And he was like, yeah. And it shocked me because me and this man has broken up. And God, you told me this man was my husband. So therefore, it's not working out the way that you said. You told me he was my husband. And now this man breaking up with me. God, it ain't working out. I'm not laughing. But that time I was distraught. I was totally mind-bogglingly distraught because my faith was to the point I just believed what God told me. I believe God told me this man was my husband. It wasn't no shaking it, wasn't no breaking it. God, I believe your word. I was one of those, if God said it, I believed it. If God said it, I believed it. If God told me that the sky was orange and you said it was blue, long as God told me, I believed it. I just believed what God said. And when this man broke up with me, it didn't agree with what God had said. But anyhow, I went all year. I would cry at night. Y'all just don't know. I would cry at night. I would pray during the day. My relationship with God got tight because I just was struggling with that thing. I had kin people that was close to me telling me, "Well, go on with your life." I had friends when I ain't really never had no friends, but I had people telling me, "Go on with your life," because Robert wasn't thinking about me. Robert was going on with his life, and he'll tell you now, he wasn't thinking about no Jawada. He was going on with his life. You know what I'm saying? I'm the one still stuck. I'm the one that can't move on. It seemed like he was just going on. Nights I would cry, nights I would get depressed. But yet I had this man in my spirit. And I could not get this man out my spirit. And I even went to counseling. And I asked a counselor, I said, am I obsessed with this man? And she asked me, she said, are you doing this? Are you doing that? I said, no, I'm not going up to this. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. So I wasn't obsessed with him. So we got this trip, but yet I would dream about him. And then sometimes I would dream about him and I would get up the nerve to call him. And then when I would call him, he would say, well, because he still would talk to me. He won't mean. He just didn't want me. Get what I'm saying? He didn't want me as his woman. He wasn't mean to me. He just didn't want me as his woman. And so I would sit there and I would tell him the dream I had. Because he trusted the God in me, though. Listen, he trusted the God in me. And so I would tell him the dream I had. And Robert would say, well, I know what you're saying. He said, this is an answer to something he was dreaming. Like I said, again, I carried this man in my spirit. And I would talk to other preachers about him. And preachers that I trusted. And I would say, it seemed like I can't get this man out of my spirit. You know, he done gone on with his life. I know what God told me, and I believe. And then when I would try to date other guys, it seemed like while I'm trying to date, people didn't understand why I was hooked on Robert. Because it was like I just trusted God. Told me he was my husband. And then it would be like, it was so crazy. If guys really didn't try to talk to me, didn't understand that. But if one did, or if somebody tried to hook me up with a guy, it would be like, my mind would say, what you gonna do when Robert come back? Listen now. During this time, Robert wasn't trying to talk to Jawanda. Jawanda just was thinking. It was Jawanda's face saying what? I just believe what God said. That this man was my husband. This what I believe God said. I was believing God said this man was my husband. So Robert wasn't trying to talk to me. It was just I just believed what God had told me. Listen now. I believe what God had told me. That this man was my husband. And so I was like, and so when I tried to talk to the guy, it was hard to explain. And people would say, girl, you still hooked on that Robert. You need to go on with your life. They would say, girl, you need to go on with your life. I couldn't explain to nobody how I carried him in my spirit, meaning that I prayed for this man. It would even be to the point, even if a woman or him or whatever, it was hard to explain. I would pray for this man times he didn't know I was praying for him. And it was like, Lord, why do I carry him in my spirit? So, make a long story short, I did it all year. And people who know came in the shop with me, I would talk about Robert. I couldn't shake Robert. Like I said, would come. Then if a guy tried to talk to me, and then if I got to the point, it was one guy, I never forget, a nice guy who liked me in school. Nice guy, he was driving truck. And me and this guy, like, we could have hooked up. And all of a sudden, it just stopped. I didn't get mad with him. He didn't get mad with me. It was just like, it just stopped. It was like a pause, you know. But anyway, just going to bless somebody out there that need to hear this because I felt like I needed to tell it tonight. So, mind you, all year, I'm feeling this now. Robert ain't calling me, but I'm feeling him. And so, long story short, I never forget my destiny. My destiny was, she's 14. No, she's 15 now. Anyway, she was a little girl. And Robert was driving school bus. And so one day Destiny came and she said, Mama, I think they were scared. Kids pick up things. And they were scared to wave at Robert because they knew me and Robert was broke up. You'll be surprised how kids don't know how to react to your exes. Watch your exes around your kids because your kids don't know how to react. It's not they nasty. They just don't know how to react because, Anyway, so she said, Mama, she said, I saw Robert. So I told her, I said, Destiny, I said, if you want to wave, and told Brittany too, I said, if you want to wave at, I said, y'all can wave at Robert. They was excited. They said, we can. I said, yeah, you can. So they was glad to wave at Robert. And then I never forget, this was close to Thanksgiving of 2012. And they wanted to talk to Robert. They had been asking me. And it was like close to it. And somehow I forgot and remembered. I saw his car. Something made me remember I was at the shop. And so I called them and I said, well, the girls, I don't want to interrupt your life. They didn't know whether he had a woman or whoever. And I said, because I was hearing different stuff about this woman he was talking to. And I said, and she's going to be in the other part of the story. And so I called him and I said, the kids want to talk to you. And I said, I didn't know what was going on in his life. He was like, well, yeah, he'll call and talk to the kids. And so he did. that Thanksgiving, he called. I think the kids was with my mama. I stayed home. I was just going through a depression. And so when he did talk to the kids, and he would call and he would talk to the kids. The kids would call and talk to him. And so then it got to a point, okay, he asked, well, can I come by and see the kids? So he started coming by and he saw the kids and stuff. Then I never forget one Christmas, the kids got sick that same Christmas. One of them got sick. No, he said he wanted to take them with him. He was going out of town to Petersburg or something. And he wanted to take them with him. And it worked out because I had to work. I needed to make some money to get the kids off for Christmas anyway. And so, because I was the type of mom, I was single parent, no child support. So I had to roll it as I went. And so, thank God, you know. And so, he took them with him. And one of them was sick. I think it was Brittany. So one of them was sick anyway. So he took them to my house. And he kept them till I got off work. And anyway. So it got to a point where he was coming. But he was leaving after they was going to bed. So Brittany, being the smart child that she is, was saying, well, Mama, when he come, he just talking to you. So she was catching on to that. So then it got to a point, and she was right. They would go to bed, time for them to go to bed, and he was staying. So one night, we was there, and I had company, and I had a friend over, and me and Robert was there, and Robert told me, he says, you feel for me more than I feel for you. Man, that thing hurt my heart. It just hurt my heart. And I was like, you know, he's telling the truth. And so being a Christian, because I knew it had to do with a Christian. I knew that I carried him in my spirit. I knew that I was supposed to pray for him. Follow what I'm saying? But I knew that we weren't in a relationship. And I knew if he was to meet somebody, rightfully, I couldn't get mad. If I was to meet somebody, rightfully, he couldn't get mad. But being a Christian and being saved, if he needed me to pray for him, I needed to be able to pray for him. But if he had got a woman, I knew I couldn't pray for him wholeheartedly. Meaning that if he was to get a woman, I couldn't pray for him because I would have been vengeance, resentful. You want me to pray for him and he got a woman? God, you want me to pray for him? And he got a woman, I ain't praying for him. Let her pray for him. I mean, that's what I would have said. You know what I'm trying to say? So what I did, the church I was going to at that time, I did something else he did. It was crazy. Okay, we went on a fast. That was the first thing. The church went on a fast. And so I was trying to stop smoking. I was smoking cigarettes at that time. And I was trying to stop smoking. So the church I was going to went on a fast. And we was like, see, Robert went on a fast with me. He on a fast for 7 days. And so on the 7th day, he ate and he got baptized. Well, he had went out to eat. But I guess he went by himself. And I was like, he didn't ask me. That thing hurt my heart again. Girl, y'all, I'm telling you, I cried and I cried and I cried. That thing hurt my heart because I feel like this man should have asked me. Mind you, because I loved him, I was expecting him to treat me the way I loved him. Not the way that he felt for me, but the way I felt for him. If you're following me, God is not lack concerning his promise. Because God told me he was my husband in 2011. So then, I'm trying to make it as short as I can because he is my husband. See the ring? Y'all see this? What is this called? A Leo diamond, y'all. I got Leos. This called a Leo, child. You can't get that from Walmart. And so what was that? Okay, so that night I cried. He came in the house, child. My big eyes was red. And I told him that day, I said, I got to fast from you because I love my relationship with God. Because mind you, that whole year of 2012, it was just me and God. It was just me and God. I got that relationship with God that I had been told to get all my life. All my saved life that I was considered myself being saved in and out the church. I did not have a relationship with God until that year. That year, I got my relationship with God. I'm telling you, in my brokenness, I got my relationship. Meaning, I prayed, I cried. I would leave work. People didn't know when I would get in my truck, I would come home. It was just time for me to pray. At night, the kids know the routine. I would shut my door. It was just me and God. It was just me and God. That's what it was. I made moves that I would have never normally moved. It was just, I trusted God. I just fell in love with God. So I knew to please God, I was going to have to be able to pray for this man. So to pray for this man, I was going to have to fast on this man to get my feelings to a point where I could. I couldn't love him the way I did and pray for him if he went with somebody else. I knew that. So I told him, I said, when he got ready to go, we had a nice little day. He came, not day, when he came, we had a nice little visit. He looked at me, he saw I had been crying. And so when he got ready to go, I told him, I said, I said, I'm going to have to fast from you. He looked. I said, yeah, I got to fast from you. And he was like, fast from me. And I told him why. I said, because right now we don't go together. And like you said, I feel for you more than you feel for me. And right now, if you was to go get somebody, I couldn't hold it against you. And two, I couldn't pray for you if God wanted me to pray for you. And I know I carry you in my spirit. So therefore, I need to pray. I need to fast from you so that I can get my feelings to a point just in case. So he was like, he respected that. So that was Sunday. So Monday I was out of it, child. I mean, I knew what God said I was fasting, but I still loved him and stuff. So Monday, I didn't hear from Robert. It was fine because I knew I had to fast from him. Tuesday, I get a text from Robert Jones telling me, I still love you. Now, this is a man who just told me that I feel for him more than he feel for me. But he's texting me Tuesday telling me, I still love you. Okay. So then that Wednesday, me and the girls and a friend of mine went to a church. And we went and it was snowing or something around that time. And when I looked, I saw he had called me. This is a Wednesday or Thursday. He had called me at my house. He had called my cell phone. He even had called my friend. And I was like, what's going on? Why is this man calling? So then I called him. He was like, oh, I'm just checking on you and the girls. It hasn't even been a week. And he's calling. Okay. By Saturday, this man has called me and told me, oh, I know that you supposed to be fasting from me, but I just want to see you for 5 minutes. From that time to this one, me and Robert Jones have been together. Okay, so it let me knowing the fasting from him, it had to prove to him how much he cared about me. But that's not the end of the story. So after that, I finished my fast, and and me smoking was a big issue, I think, too. God took cigarettes away from me. Thank God. God took cigarettes away from me. And then after that was like 2013. Then I got sick in 2014. And Robert Jones was there with me through everything. When I said everything, he was there with me through everything. People don't know, I used to wear diapers. I mean, not many men will be there for you wearing diapers. And he wasn't getting no sex from me wearing diapers. What man gonna want to go with you wearing diapers? And different things. I used to fall and having operations and going through all that I was going through. And guess what? God told me in 2011. Hold on. Before we got married, remember I said earlier there was a lady that they say he was talking to. Well, this same lady pops back up later on in the relationship. Her sister does. So her sister called herself prophesying to Robert and telling Robert on his initial sermon he had, she just had to see him that morning. I mean, had to see him before she left. Oh, God gave him a prophecy. Of course, some of the stuff she was saying was right, but told him the woman that he is with is not his wife. So I said, well, you doing prophet against prophet there because God told me you was my husband. So how you going to decipher that one? Because you don't think I know that her sister has talked to her about you? So now she's prophesying that you're going to be her wife. And as soon as you propose, now me and this person used to talk. Now this would shock me. Me and this person used to talk. My kids had been to her house, to stayed at her house. And as soon as he asked me to marry him, and he asked me to marry him at a church function, as soon as and it shocked me, as soon as he asked me to marry him, she stopped talking to me, pretty much. And pretty much didn't deal with him. It was like, she couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Then I was told the reason why she stopped because I took her man. So I told Robert, I said, you need to get this straight. Because if you were messing with this woman, you need to get this straight because I don't got nothing to do with this. You understand what I'm saying? So come to find out, hey, all this is ringing around a circle. So this lady must have put up, she must have had something for Robert. And in her mind, maybe she thought eventually he would have been her wife. She would have been his wife and whatever. But I told him, you don't think I know that that's common sense that she done talked about him. Now her sister now is prophesying. And then the cousin had took us out to eat a week before we got married. And I said, well, I got him. I said, oh, I got him now. The cousin told me, you still got a week. I looked at her, wow. She was like, you still got a week. Like, I could lose them in a week. But I said, stand on what God tell you all. God is not lack concerning his promise. Don't worry about what others say. Don't worry about what others say. You pray and stand on what God has told you. Because he will put what they say to shame. And I'm a witness to that. I know people talks about me. I got a bad name when it comes to Emporia. I know I have prophesied to a lot of people in Emporia. A lot of pastors, preachers. I know they are ashamed to say that I gave them a word. If you was to go to some of them, if I was to name some of them, they probably would lie and say they didn't because of the name that I have. And they're ashamed to say that I gave them a word. But I have gave them a word in their life. Some of them I have warned them because I knew they had habits. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't a fool about that. Some of them have, hey, I can go down the line with some things I told some of them. But because of who I am, they're ashamed because they were like, I ain't going to tell nobody. Joanna gave me a word. And I know it was from God. But I said it to say this, stand on what God told you because through it all, I was sick. I had been sick since 2014 dealing with issues. And Robert Jones has been there. Robert Jones married me sick. Robert Jones came into my life. I was on TNF, and I'm going to cut it short because I've been talking a long time. I was on TNF. I was on food stamps. I was on Medicaid. My kids was not getting child support. I had no car. What else? And I was not working. This man came into my life and he took over. Even before we got married, he would come in. No, he did not shack with me. No, he did not. You might have saw his car there all the time, but he did not shack with me. He would go to work, come to my house. If he had to go to the store, if he had to pick up the kids, he had to drop the kids off. He would cook. We would talk. He would go home. He would do the same thing over and over and over. Then he married me. So he took on a responsibility. And now he pays for insurance for us. He bought me a car. He took over. Kids that not even his, he takes care of. He makes sure they have what they need. So that's why I said God is not lack concerning his promise. You hold on to what God has told you. Don't worry about what people say. Don't worry about when people say let go. Don't let go of God's promises. Hold on to God's promises and let go of people's negativeness or let them go. If they that negative, let them go. Everybody's not going to see your vision. And for those vision killers, let them go. Go find somebody else. God didn't say you had to be hooked to them. They probably ain't supposed to be with your vision no way. But I I wanted to share that. That was on my mind as I was driving down the highway going to tend to some business today. It was like, wow, I was driving. Listen, I was driving my vehicle. And think about it, years ago, I did not have a vehicle. Do you understand? I can go to the doctor now, and I don't have to look at people. And don't get me right, not wrong with Medicaid, because the Medicaid brought me through. But I don't have to look at people looking me down now because I have Medicaid. You know, I had the same insurance them white folks had now. Oh, I'm just quoting, them rich, you know what I'm trying to say. I shouldn't have said it like that, but you know what I'm saying, the ones who think they better than us. But, stand on what God tell you. But I hope this bless somebody. Stand on what God tells you. Because I tell you, it just blessed me today when I think about where I came from. It was a time I couldn't pay my rent or my light bill. And if you was to come see my apartment now, the apartments we live in is considered luxury apartments. And this is what God, I'm not bragging, but what I'm saying, I'm thinking about the goodness of God, what God has brought me from. Y'all just don't know what God has brought. Thank you, Jesus. What God has brought me from. Y'all just don't understand how grateful. And I had to share that thing with y'all. Hold on to God. Hold on to God. If he said it, he would do it, and no man will erase it. Once he write it, it is done. Just hold on to it. Once he write it, it is done. Just carry it around. Don't erase it. Carry it around. If you think you're going to forget his promises, write them down and carry them around. And y'all be blessed.